This is the Hustler's Corner.
What's up, family? Peace, everyone. Welcome to the Instagram live conversations. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Come into the room, everyone. Come into the room. While everybody is still connecting on my Instagram live, let me speak to the YouTube family. Welcome to the Hustlers Conversations on YouTube. This is the lockdown, I'd say lockdown version, or should I say lockdown sessions, or should I say, but it's happening during the lockdown. So instead of me sitting down with a guest and having a convo with them, which we will do at the end of the lockdown, press or click the like button, share this video, let your friends know about the Hustler's Corner and all the previous episodes that we have. They'll forever be relevant because they are about inspiration. Human capital is the biggest thing in Africa. Let me say in the world. Africa is the youngest continent. We stand great opportunities to conquer the future. And so basically, which means we have the youngest population all over the world. So shout out to all the Africans that are watching all over the globe. I'm about to go on Instagram live. Okay, we've got over 100 people now tuning in. I hope we're going to get more. Okay, quickly to my YouTube family, like, share, subscribe the video. Today I'm going to be talking to Mr. Nciza. He's a businessman. He's a somebody who's always felt he wants to communicate. He wants to contribute to society, to communities, without having to have his face on camera. We had to convince him to get onto Instagram. He actually literally just joined Instagram literally recently. He's not on Twitter. He's not on Facebook. He's never been on any music video. And I think he's been responsible in shooting maybe over 300 music videos, because he's the guy that I'd say he discovered myself. So all these other brands that I've worked with that I always talk about having worked with, I did what I did in the music industry because of TK. So he's somebody that I always say he is every artist's dream manager. You know, this is a person who doesn't want to be in front of the camera. This is a person who knows his space. This is a person who understands South Africa. This is a person who's been working for record companies since he was a teenager. This is Autia Sekasi. This is somebody who's grown up to become a Ekurhuleni that is highly respected in the township that he comes from. Doesn't like being on camera. This is actually his first interview, I think, since we last ran TS Records together. A lot of people don't know how he looks like. Some people know the name. Some people just have not seen him in quite some time. So I'm very excited to have a chat with a brother of mine. And I'm really proud of what we achieved back in the day. Nciza is my guest today. Okay, let me check him out so that I can put him on. Let's see. TK, are you gonna log in so that I can invite you? Or... Guys, please bear with me now, because I just started doing lives yesterday with Nicolette Mashile. I've never done a live since yesterday. Well, until yesterday. And then I enjoyed it. And I was like, actually, why not we do live sessions every evening at 7 p.m. So tomorrow we're going to be hanging out with Theo Baloyi, the founder of Batu. That's 7 p.m. tomorrow. We're going live with Theo Baloyi. On Sunday, we're going live with Stogie T. For me, I know him as Dumi from Dumi and the Volume. I think the new generation knows him as Stogie T. That is on Sunday, 7 p.m. Monday evening at 7 p.m., it's Lebu Kunguluza. So we're going live with Lebu Kunguluza. Lebu Kunguluza on Monday, Stogie T on Sunday. This is all 7 p.m. every day, man. Every day until the end of the lockdown. Every day, 7 p.m., Hustlers Conversations. Monday, it's Lebu Kunguluza. Sunday it's Stogie T. Tomorrow is Theo, who started Batu. Tonight is Nciza. Okay, let's find him. He has to be here. Let's get things started. Shout out to Mzansi Entrepreneur. I see you guys. Luandi Lebushula. I see you. Nciza. Nciza. Oh no, pal. Ngrenshap kujani Nciza.
Polas matala, polas ushap.
Nice one, Matala, man. I think this has been a long overdue one. I think we need to do a proper one. Slowly pants na my camera,
yeah.
I think first of all, you're somebody who's you don't do cameras. Is there a particular reason why I'm camera Matala? Says Kuluma public manje, not for things as you man. Says Kulumela for Rabantu. Why don't you do cameras? I mean, I think with you as my business partner at TS Records, we've shot hundreds of music videos. You've never even appeared in one. Actually, yeah. The first music video you were on ile Mapaputse, Kumbula Ezinja.
Yeah.
That's the only music video where I shy. From then on, you don't want cameras, you don't want social media, you don't want any photos, no videos. Why?
Well, Sbu, I no, maybe I'm made of a different cloth, because I'm one person who believes, let me focus at what I'm good at, and not occupy every space, and I've always done it, and it always worked for me. Do what I know best, allow those who are good in cameras to do what they know best. Let my job and my work for speak for itself. And it has worked wonders for me over time, and unfortunately we're in a different era. Good to adopt or die. One person who believes
adapt or die. That's true, eh?
Yeah, no.
It's that time now.
I believe in a different type of engagement, I believe in an engagement with person to person. Make sure that, if people know about me and they know about my work, they'll be able to remember what I've done for the longest of time, unlike posing for cameras and behaving as if I live a particular lifestyle once I don't. So I've always been that type of.
I think before we get into the story, for those who've just tuned in now, welcome to the Hustlers Corner. The Hustlers Corner is a podcast that I started in, I think it was November, December, about 5 months ago. I interview entrepreneurs. I interview movers and shakers, hustlers, people that make things happen. So check out our previous episodes. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. It's The Hustlers Corner SA. That's the name of the podcast. Now, today we've got TK, 7 p.m. Tomorrow we've got Theo Baloyi, the founder of Batu. Sunday we've got Stogie T. Monday we've got Lebu Kunguluza. I just want to have a chat with my brothers and sisters because our country is going through a lot right now. And sometimes we might focus on entertainment type of content, but I'm one of those people that always think about where I come from, Ekasi. To think with because I was once one of those young boys with a dream. I'm sure there's a lot of young Sbus out there. There's a lot of young heavy Ks out there. There's a lot of young black coffees out there. There's a lot of young Bonangs who are watching this. And with this lockdown, they want some sort of inspiration. I will not be doing much talk in this hour. TK from time to time, he'll probably take a break and sip his tea, but I want him to do the talk because he never does cameras. I would just like for him to inspire you as young hustlers, because I met him when I was a young boy. I was literally 19 years old, and I went on to make history in this country with TK. So when you're talking about having made history, or any artist or record label that made history between the years 2000 or 2000, let's say from 2000 until around 2012, 2013, I think we made a name for ourselves in the game, and we built brands and we made history. So if you've never had a chance to hear TK speak, this is a great opportunity. Let's start. TK ubani, mfana uphuma vai lokishini. I mean, what molded you to be the person that you are? Let's take it back to many, many years ago.
Yes, I've TK ubani, was born in the Western Cape, Ekurhuleni. From there, at a young age, moved to Transvaal at the time, which is known as Gauteng, and Eastern Transvaal. I've once stayed in a mine called Matla Coal, and that's where I think I was shaped to be humble. A lot of consciousness was built in me. Seeing abantu base mine, baspanema mine, and how conscious they were at the time in the late 80s. And moving on, I mean, I stayed at some point I stayed in Witbank for a year, but where I settled and I found myself was in Evuta, in my high school days, that's where really I really found myself, again we are poor, but you learn how to hustle, and you learn how to respect people, and you learn how to respect your art, and that's where I learned a lot of things. Finished my matric there, went on to do my marketing, and yeah, that's how I grew up. So I'm just a humble guy who just works hard.
Shout out to somebody that just commented, TS Records in the house. I'm sure now, Sakura, you didn't think in one day. You grew up around the apartheid. How were your teenage years like? And what made you fall in love with black consciousness, or let me say politics? And how did you get into or pursue the journey of music or entertainment rather than politics while you I think because your love for people, your love for Rikas, your love for ordinary South Africans, and you've always taught me the only way or the biggest way in which you can make change is through politics, Sbusiso. And that's one of the things that I've learned from you. But what gave you that consciousness, and what type of a teenager are you, and how did you land up in music?
It's a very tricky question. Sbu, I was born in politics. I never, nobody recruited me into the ANC or into just to be a politician. My parents were conscious. My aunts, everybody was into politics. We were a family of people at the time where it was not fashionable. You could not just call a slogan for the sake or say things that you don't really mean, but you say them just to get votes. It was at that time. I mean, I think Itamalam was very political. Many people came through my house in and out. Nkhuliswa, my leader, Namhlanje. Then they were leaders of unions, but now they're leaders of the ANC and so on. Those are the people who brought me up. So I understood the sufferings of a black person at the time. I understood what it means to sacrifice yourself for people of your country. But over and above, I think, like you said, I mean, the love I have to make a difference in society. I mean, I've always had that love. It's always been with me, and I believe that that's what I mean. At the age of 14. I joined Psycho, and then I was a member of COSAS, and but that thing, at the time, there was a lot of violence, so it has impacted. That's why I said I moved a lot. So because they're trying to protect you as their kids, and they were too exposed as well as, my parents were too exposed to the system at the time, so they had to move me from one place to another. After, fast forward, because I can say a lot of things.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was always in the space, and I always believed as a youngster, if I'm scared to be part of changing or making things happen. I mean, I was the first guy to do metric dance. Being in the class, eskolweni sami elisiba but I did that for Elisiba High School.
Oh, Elisiba, okay. Ngase Tshwatshwa ne?
Garden Village.
Garden Village, okay.
Mongena nje met you in Garden Village. I just even teachers, all of them, they knew me.
Sure.
But not as out out in Jay Standela, it was okay at the time. But moreover, I was very active. Played soccer. Full time. But I always had an influence in whatever I was doing around me. And I always tell young people that you can't find yourself when you're over 25. You must look for a passion. You must fight very hard. You'll find yourself at a young age, and always want to look for information. So I was always very inquisitive. I always wanted to know what's happening around me. Of course, the influence of Brenda Fassie, who was very close to my mom, or rather was like a younger sister to my mother, brought me into this thing of music, because she used to come at my show. So I fell in love with this thing of a star, this woman can shake so many people. And I saw the power of music through Brenda Fassie, Fast forward to that, always went to shows. But I met Ekurhuleni Valbizu Alimpofo, was a task music. This is in the 1996, 95, in fact. Kwaito was starting very hard at that time. Mafukati, Jonina were coming up. They were also not Bebanga Gabambi. But a group that made me fall in love with Kwaito music would have been Trompis.
Trompis?
Skiang Ngoma. It moved me, and I saw the impact it had in the township. It was a huge impact. We were owning our own sound, and the guys were doing their thing, and they looked as if they were independent at the time. They were not independent, but they looked independent. They looked free. But also they were, it was the chance from our days travel, but now they brought it, modify it, and I fell in love with Kwaito music, I also wanted to be the singer. In fact, we're a group with
Vardos.
Yeah.
Vardos, yeah. Tell us about the group.
Yeah. We're young. We wanted to start, when you're young, we always want to try something. So we started a group called Vardos. It was signed by a record company at the time called Task Music, which today I think is part of Universal. That's when Robbie started coming in.
So Robbie was the lead singer?
No, he wanted it.
Because I know it was three of you, but who were no Zakes, no Robbie? Who was the Beyonce?
Basically four.
How many four?
Basically four. Yeah. But Robbie also wanted to be Beyonce, behind us.
Yeah.
But even at that time, the hot man and Chelangaba to Ali saw a lot of potential in me even at that time. Because I used to ask a lot of things. Remember that time when you had to sign a contract, you would sign it in 30 minutes because you believe you're going to be a star. You come into a company, bring your demo, they say they like it, they put a contract in front of you. You'd want to sign it immediately. You were sure that you're going to appear on TV, you'll have money, and so on and so on. This is in the mid 90s, Sbu. So there was a lot of excitement. But even then I saw, there's a lot of gray areas here. And I started to really be very curious about the business itself now, beyond being an artist. And I decided, let me understand this thing more. Let me go and see what I can do, And I started working. I met Lance later.
Because I can see the comment there. Uspiso Ati, how did you end up at Ghetto Raf? Yeah, you're already covering that. Go ahead, yeah?
Yeah, I met Lance there, a humble guy. He was a hustler, and he could spot talent from far. I met Lance, I think, in Auckland Park. Ngamhasila naye, khutmani kunjani? Look, I've got passion in this thing. I understand it. At the time, Lance did not have anybody working with him except a guy called Sydney.
Hey, Sydney. I'll Sydney me out. Whoever he is, that guy is rich. I will attend the man who Sydney. Okay.
And then Lance brought me in. I started working with Lance. Zola already was there, but started pushing Zola. From Zola, we did Zola twice. And then from there, I brought an artist called Mapapu.
I think you did Mischief and Mavusana, and you did Ashan as well.
Yeah, no. Of course, I did Mischief and Mavusana.
And may the souls rest in peace. Yeah.
Summertime. It was a crazy song.
That's part of your history. We have to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when I met you. When Summertime was big, that's when you were sampling ghetto rap music. Nabo Ashan, Kubuli group about Ashan. That's when I was a graveyard DJ YFM.
2000, 2001. Those are the years I'll never forget in my life, because I think I made critical decisions of my life during that period. Because that is when, at your place, we used to, or where we shared, now.
Elindes, yeah. Savang elinye kushare selvang petrol 20 rand. Ne Apula, kumbula in, you used to drive a Fiat Palio, the green one, Apula.
You know how many of us? You know how many of us in that car? I mean, guys that I came across and I worked with at the time and I discovered. I mean, I'm talking about Double Mangena Chipa. I'm talking about DJ Sbu. I'm talking about Mapapoots. I'm talking about Brown Dash. I'm talking about Tup Tup. I'm talking about, many guys. We stayed in one house and we had a dream. This is 2000, year 2000. And then we started with Mapapoots. You know, crazy song.
Ababana bakhumbulizi njala. Ayayitha madala.
A guy called Kabzela used to say to me, TK, no man, please man, come through. Do this thing on your own. You've got so much passion. You understand it. Do it on your own. Do it on your own. And it was not easy. But of course, I must say, we were motivated by guys like Abuski. You know, they were running their own. They were black guys running a successful company. They were motivated by guys like Boatha, you know. And I remember my first meeting with you. Because the story that I've seen you writing something, I read it. I think you've written something like that. Because I worked with Mandoza at some point at In Time Inc.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah. Nabo Von Eaton.
Nabo Von Eaton. At that time, Mandoza was huge. You know?
I'm at Von Studios in Sunning Hill on the roof. That's where Mzegeze Brown and Cleo recorded this Kukangamatolo.
100%.
You remember?
Now, I'm sitting with Sbu, and I'm a very I love Mandoza at the time because he was a representative of township, you know. Donna Sekas, he represents something extraordinary at the time.
I think Leo ngicela ukuthi uyijump mfana kumele sifake encwadini angasitsheli leso story. Leso mfethu enyuke ephaya leso story sekuncosi zethu ngicela ungasixoxi madala sisipake. Leso sizosixoxa one day when the time is right. Okwamanje ngicela usijumpe uyazi ukuthi ngisho siphi. Asiringe ngalezi ezinye kuyale. Leso sinyuke ephaya mngani wami asiringe ngezinye qhubeka.
No, I was not gonna go there. Just saying.
Oh, okay. But you know what I mean? Asingabaniki yonke into manje phela, sure.
Don't worry, I will never go there.
Oh, okay, sure.
All I'm saying, the pride of the township, Wailanzwa, and he could not be as real as he should have for me. And he wanted to speak English and so on and so on. And that was when I thought, we really need a proper representative. A person who's going to motivate young people. Because at the time when you were at Model C, you were the man, you know, and our kids were like, Maufunde cars, you know, and we needed something extraordinary. I'll jump that back. Then we found a guy called Mzeix.
I think before Mzeix, it was Mapapoots. Because Mapapoots, I think, Mapapoots' story, I know you told it, but it's important for you to dwell on it because we knew Brown Dash because of Mapapoots.
Of course, Paps was the first artist who worked with.
And people don't know what actually Brown Dash comes from Doc Shebeleza. Doc Shebeleza discovered Brown Dash.
Of course.
But obviously we came and made him big, you know.
Paps are creating our own company. He must come and be part of us. He's huge as an artist. At that time, Panaki uhlale 4 ways, sihlale lindes. Uhlale 4 ways, sihlale lindes. Usibona kahle uPaps ukuthi yazi umngani wami. But anyway, he motivated us. We went back, spoke to Sbu, got fired at YFM at some point. Cleo got fired at YFM at some point. Both of these guys are very close to me at the time. Very close. Now, I'm supposed to fight, and I started making calls to guys saying, no, you can't fire this guy, because we had a nice rapport, no Shane, including no Cleo.
You, Shane, Greg Maluka, and Wandil Auction Culture.
Yeah, no, this is song. Now, I'm like, no, man.
Yo mngani wami isinkwa sami sokuqala sokungena egaming sebangixosha ha.
Yeah, no. And then I remember after we discovered Nciza on Rude Boy Paul's show, and I said, this is the artist I'm looking for, and this is the guy we can work with. And at that time, he was doing gimmicks on radio. It was blowing up like crazy. 2 days later, Cleo gets fired at YFM for doing some ad. A very nasty
Joy of Jazz. He made an ad and then he made it Joy of S. He made a jingle, Joy of S.
They fired him.
Hey, Cleo.
They fired DJ Cleo and it was sad, man. Manje umfana waseThema, umfana waseThembisa. Umfana waseDavidton were from the east. Cleo had a place in Bremley. Back room in Ntwana. 2-room back room in Akashi. Fika lapha ne Cleo, I'm looking for a song. Yakamzekezeke. I want us to do this song. Cleo starts playing around. I sleep in his couch. Ngoba at the time yimi benginenyukunyana mara nami ngihola 6,000. Mara siyayishare lenyu song. Uyangifunda?
Ngiyakhumbula, sure.
Hey, we do this thing. I'm sleeping. Just mangibamba. Hey, I hear this beat. Yes, kukanga madosh.
It's a ting, tigering, ting, tigering, 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 ting, tigering, 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 ting, poof, 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 poof. Ah.
What's that, Cleo? He says, no, I did this song 3 years ago. I said, as long as people have not heard it, it's a new song. Play that song again.
Yeah.
He played it. Sbu, that song, the history that we've made with this song. In fact, that song created and molded TS Records. Discovered Brown, brought Brown into the fold. And Brown was a magic. It was magical. It was crazy. Brown was a pure township. His voice was on another level. His rhymes were something else. And that song launched 2 artists at the same time. Fast forward to...
No. Nciza, ngicela ukubamba kancane because you know mina my focus is pretty much uku-inspire intwana encane. Ngicela ukuyibambarane. And I wanted to dwell on that a little bit. Guys, don't be mad when I stop him and I disturb him. You'll still hear the full story properly when we sit down on a proper interview. But I want him to take that story and what he experienced at the time and relate it to him being a businessman now and how that experience can teach or help you maneuver your own moves, either as an up-and-coming artist or an up-and-coming hustler. It does not matter. You don't have to be a musician. But how did you, or let me say, how would you, right now, knowing what you know as a businessman who's in his mid-40s, because that was brilliant, by the way. I know it happened naturally, but that was genius, Joe. It's still, I meet certain people today who still talk about it, and now they're older, they're CEOs, they're millionaires, they're like, what you guys did was too genius. Now, if you take that and speak it in an entrepreneurial or business language, how would you encourage, inspire, or advise newer, younger guys who are also hustling about either... Ashindaba namangwazi kuyibuza le question. Yazi ngizama ukuthini? Ngifuna ukukhuluma ngala ukuthi when the iron is hot, strike while the iron is hot and run. You never stop. Because you just mentioned something like that song changed all our lives. Look at where we are today, but it took that one song. What advice would you use that experience to sort of communicate some sort of an advice to young hustlers?
Well, I hear your question, but I want to answer it differently.
Okay.
Look, Sbu, we never did things according to another person's script. We were besforced, Anjam.
You said we must do things according to the only way we know how. Anyway, yeah.
Besforced, but we knew exactly what we wanted. We used to calculate where is the mood of the country, and people don't understand why people bought into Nciza. And I was explaining to my 2 young sons today why Nciza became so huge. It was not only about songs. We understood how to build a brand from that time. You know, we understood that he had to have a particular position in society. You know, he had to be sort of, he had to introduce, I mean, sell C for yourself, those who Mzekezeke's lingo for yourself. And people followed the trends that Mzekezeke was setting in the township.
Till today, I'm okay, December boss. December boss. Mzekezeke started that, yeah. Yeah.
So music was just complementing what we were trying to do. We're trying to conscientize a lot of people about just the unity of our people. So that's why Mzekezeke became big. But over and above that, we always knew that we didn't just want to have artists. We wanted to create brands. I'm talking in the 90s. In the 90s, you know a song and don't even know the artist. And we did it differently at TS Rap. You know, we wanted to build brands. That's why we shoot 4 or 5 videos for an artist. At the time, it's not even known. We're the first company to do what we call 360 degree deal. And if anybody wants to contest me, I'm saying anybody in this country, they can. You would know that many artists were managed by different managers. You go to, for instance, Mafikizolo was managed by Julius, and we said, for us to make sure that this business makes sense, we need to look at the opportunities around this business so that we're able to invest in this particular person to become a brand, not just a big artist or a big song, which was the case at the time. And that also created an opportunity for us to start, I would say, speaking to endorsements. I mean, we were one of the first to get proper endorsements because we always strive to grow our business. Always look for an opportunity. Always see and look at the gap and believe in yourself and never be told by anybody that it is done this way, because it's never the same way for anybody. It was never easy for us coming into the game. And many people at the time, by the way, they hated us, you know, up until they saw that we're not a fluke, because they believed when Mzekezeke were a fluke. And we showed people that we're here to stay, you know, different minds. But we had the nerve, man. We were never scared, and we pushed very hard. But most of all, we sacrificed. We sold our cars to record the first album. I mean, I sold my car. I sold my car.
Next, Matala. Next. Ngisho ne 5,000 yana ku bank account besingana next.
We went to a tour for 2 months promoting Mzekezeke. Remember, the album came late in the year. I think it was around November when the album was released.
Our album came November, and November is too late actually.
Very late.
Because people who release for festive, they release around September. November is very late.
So, I mean, I remember that time, but there were still cassettes were selling at the fast pace. We were independent at the time. We had to go and print cassettes, put them in the boot of my car. I used to drive from Durban to Cape Town I drove, my brother, because I had a dream and I believed in what we were doing. And
I think it's a nice time to shout out KC from Umhlobo, Linda Sbu, Mr. Magic, all those guys. DJ Fresh. Tell them about the story of how DJ Fresh was the first DJ to risk his own job and play our song, our first TS record song.
We're in Pretoria. Why Mama, why Bash? Mzekezeke, we've just done the song a week, just playing on radio for a week. The biggest show, the biggest event you could go to at the time was Why Mama, why Bash? Mamela, I've never seen anything like that.
Ash.
DJ Sbu. You know, Greg, I'm saying out there.
I think he did not know our artist at the time because everybody was like, this guy, your artist guy is out
there, I mean, there's Mafikizolo is playing in Dambanawe, it's huge. There's Kabe Lushaya, Balele.
Yeah.
We are not known. We have a guy with a mask. Nobody understands what we're doing. Nobody's first time fashion. That's when I knew that we're blessed. I went to Fresh. I begged him the whole set. I was standing next to him. I said, I'll do it. Ngaleso sikhathi asisali noGreg uzama ukungixosha. You know what? You know what? Fresh played the song. Ask anybody who was there.
Oh.
If the OGs are in this, it was a Michael Jackson moment.
Oh.
First time an artist is playing a song, the whole hall, 15,000 people, they went down on their knees. It was the craziest performance I've ever seen, and I knew from that day that we were destined to do bigger things.
Yeah, our lives
and
changed.
Of course, we went to win the best artist of the year, the best
song of the year.
Song of the year. We went on, man.
But you know what? I think it helped us. Greg was Bonella because afterwards he put Nciza on high rotation on YFM, and I thank Greg for what he did, because after he saw what happened at State Theatre, I think he went full on supporting our artists.
Let me put it this way. It doesn't mean Greg was wrong. Remember, he has his own brand that he must protect. And this is what I must also clarify. Right? I'm talking about my experience. What happened? I'm motivating the same young people we're talking about, that they must know. Nobody must ever say, I'll feed you more. Especially if you believe in your brand, especially if you believe in your product. Greg was a station manager, why you had to protect the stature of the station and the stature of the gig, the integrity of the gig. I from my side, I wanted something else. I wanted my artist on stage. My artist played at 12 o'clock. The best slot you can find, and my artist became the biggest thing at that time. And that's what you do as a young person. Nobody says you can't do more fire because what. You do it because you believe in it. You break boundaries. Nobody must ever put some boundaries for you and told you, this is the norm, this is how it's done. When I took Nciza to record companies and I decided that we're going to go, of course with you as my partner, we're going to go independent, I took it to big record companies. And those guys, they know. And it doesn't mean they were wrong. All of them, they said, this music is not quality. This thing will never sell anywhere. I'm talking about proper guys who were running Sony's, BMGs. I went to them, gave them the demo. They said to me, this thing will never sell anywhere. The following year, all of them, they were giving us respect. Right?
Shout outs to Leslie Sidibe who helped us do our first deal with EMI. Shout outs to Vusile, wherever he is. Big up.
Yeah, of course. The following year, everybody wanted to be with these boys that were seen as crazy, you know. Yeah, we were seen as crazy, but what so nobody can tell us how to do it. We'll do it our own way. Yeah, I'm listening. What I can say so much.
I'm very happy because, and I want us to say so much, but I'm looking forward to our proper interview in Aslil Pass because I know you never do cameras. But I love how young people right now have got us. You understand? They've got the social media. We never had that. You know? Tina besibukela amakhurumane wethu esiwancanya i-TV yabo pop mabhenge or amakhurumane ablanda ikansi or abo babhathile ikari esiwabhekayo ekansi. So I love what technology has done now. I can just imagine calling on things Brazil by 5 babu. You understand? And that's what I love about technology. Now, let the story continue. That was and we've been speaking for almost an hour, but that was only the beginning. Now you went on to become a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, businessman, and you grew in whatever you're doing. Same here. And I always say it. I mean, people know in all my books it's written on how you changed not only my life but all of us' lives. By the way, people don't say themselves, guys. Very humble guys, but he is the brains Jane, the gene of brains behind DJ Sbu, Bricks, Kid Mason, rest in peace. Mzege, Brown Dashman, so rest in peace. By the way, looking this way, guys, I'm talking to my YouTube people, but I'm also on Instagram as well. Whether you want to talk about Nciza, whether you want to talk about Zahara, I think it was a beautiful career that you've had because you've always had the reach to discover talent. But where does this thing come from, you letting the talent shine on its own? Because it's very rare to find such people. Everybody wants to be known as the people that helped this person. But we know you never do. And I think let's get into the consciousness side of how the new generation of artists or younger entrepreneurs should be, or hustlers in whatever they do. The consciousness part of how we should always tap in, especially as black people. I would like for you to touch on that a bit. Consciousness side, that guides the decisions that you make, that everything just doesn't become about the bag or the money or about the girls. There's a certain purpose in why you do this thing.
Maybe, Sbu, let me start here. I don't criticize people who run their own companies but decide they want to be on camera as well. Right? I want to start there. Because it's not a one-size-fits-all type of an approach. You know, you do what is best for you. You do what you think is right. And you do what you think will be able to sustain you. Longevity is very critical. So you must be able to say, if I do this, what will happen to it in the next couple of years? Right? So, I mean, for instance, Puffy is a cameraman, and it has worked for him.
Me too.
Would have a different.
Me too.
Sbu.
With all the knowledge that you've given me, it's worked for me, yeah.
Sbu is exactly my point. But I have a different Russell Simmons, you know, crazy guy, discovered and made big artist, partnered with Jay-Z for him to be where he is.
Damon Dash.
There's a lot of guys. Damon Dash.
LA Reid.
You know, 100%. There are people like that who believe I am fine where I am. Let me contribute positively. I don't have to contest my artist, or I don't have to contest a leader, or I don't have to. Let me play my role and do it perfectly. And that's what you do. And it has worked for me. But I also respect those who think they want to play dual roles. It's good for them. But come to the last question you asked. You spoke about consciousness and what it does. It's a broad thing. It teaches you Ubuntu, humanity. It teaches you longevity. You're able to do whatever you do, that it sustains for it must have a meaning. Because once you're not conscious, you're excited, right? Because once you're like a soldier with a gun but who's not trained, you are very dangerous. Because you must be trained as the soldier, right? So once you are conscious, once you know, what is it that I stand for? Who am I? What is the role that I must play in society? What is it that people must take outside of the work that I would have done? I can tell you what people took from Zege Zege, right? At the time, YFM was the biggest station, biggest. Big people big slots were done by what we call Model Cs at the time. I'm not saying now. I mean, 10% of were in Model Cs. 90% Bevasekas doing Bantu education, or maybe DTD, I don't know what it was called at the time.
Yeah.
So,
I think it was DET, Department of Education and Training.
Yeah, it was DET.
Has it been an hour?
So many of
Because it cuts on Instagram Live.
young brothers were really.
Sorry, TK, let me tell my camera guy to remind me when it's 5-2, because at 1 hour it cuts us off. How many more minutes? Oh, 15 more minutes. We're still at 45. We've got time. Yeah, continue, sure.
So I'm saying you're killing my flow.
Sorry, we're talking about consciousness. Now we have into imelayo, uyathavu ukuthi le pruku na uligibela or ulugcwala uligqoka ukuthi yini into imelayo na ulwela lento oyilwelayo.
And that's what it does. Right? You're not excited about the first check, the second check, the third check. That's why you're able to invest more into a business, because you're conscious, right? That's why you're able to invest more into your brains, because you're conscious. You're a forward thinker. You're not about today and the hype and you're the man and you're driving this and that and so on and so on. Your main motivation is to change and make an impact in people's life. And once you have that motivation, it drives your action. It drives you respect a simple thing. There's nothing as important as relationships and business. You can't do anything in business if you don't have relationships. Unfortunately, people will want to interpret it in different ways. You're told it's networking and so on and so on. In this country, to be reduced to something. It is just my view. But the reality is that consciousness goes along. It molds you, it defines you, and it sets you apart. And I think that from an early age, I was able to grasp and I moved with it. That's why even now, it's not easy to shake me, irrespective of what you throw at me. Because many things have been thrown at us. Right? And it's supposed to be like that, because when you lead, you must be tested. You can't be a leader that is not trying to test it. And it's not just a slogan. It's something that must be practiced. You must be tested. You must fall and stand up again, and fall and stand up again. But because there's that motivation that you have within you and that fire that you have within you, nobody can take you down when you're conscious. So I can go on and on about consciousness without going into politics. But just to explain to you the importance of being conscious. You want to read when you're conscious. You want to have more information because you're conscious. You want to understand what is this fourth industrial revolution in relation to the 3G or 5G, and what does it do to the society? What the opportunities does it bring to young people of today? Very important. And how do they interact with it? How do you make sure that we're not just the consumers of 5G, but we participate in the creation of 5G, because you can't turn it back. It is here. It makes things faster. It's changing the world. Are we going to be just consumers of it? It is not my son, my kids are supposed to be telling me how to change this thing, how to do this thing, how to change the lives of our people using this new technology that is coming. I've played my role. I'm still gonna play my role. But yeah, that's. Let me end this. Let's go to something else.
I think we've got 10 more minutes to go, and I know that you are very passionate, and I like it. I like it when you speak and your passion comes through. And shout out to Titimba. Titimba is sent in, I think, 3 messages already. It's like, hey, chance this quality movie at TS Records.
I think whenever I tell the story of TS, and especially when I'm in my zone, and I explain to people what is this thing, people always say, but a documentary will not be enough. This is like content. Because when we came into the game, literally we were enemies of everything.
Yeah, I remember.
It's natural.
That's why I'm Matalan and Nciza confidence. In my head, guys, you always need a mentor. And I always say TK is not only just been a brother or business partner, he's always been a mentor to me, because you built my confidence. And I guess that's what you got to do as a manager of an artist or etc. Because you started out as not only just my business partner, but as a manager for me. But let me tell you the words I always remember till today. And I still remember. Like, I remember the places I stayed in and how many times I'd be on the phone and hearing those words in my ear. That's why till today I'm like this overconfident person, Like that confidence, you left it with me. And every meeting we did, guys, I knew nothing about business. I knew nothing about negotiating. I knew nothing about speaking for my own personal value. I knew none of those things. Everything I know through the meetings that we would have with TK speaking, representing me, and I'll always be here. I'll always be like a fly on the wall. But the statement you used to like saying, used to be, Sbu, we're doing this shit on our own. You understand what is writing, Matana? We're doing this shit on our own, boy. We're doing this shit on our own. And I think in English, people call that a hype man. And I think you knew what you were doing because you were transferring the passion and the confidence that you had. And you wanted me to understand it at your level because only now, as the Ekurhuleni, I understand what life is all about energy. And you were vibrating on such a higher frequency that you wanted to bring me to that high frequency because I never used to believe in myself the way I do today. And you brought me that confidence. And a lot of the times, even though you don't participate in music anymore, but your resume has got Nciza, has got DJ Sbu, has got Brown Dash, may so rest in peace, has got Pro Kid, may so rest in peace, has got Zahara, has got Mzegezege, has got, you know, and I look at you and I'm like, you're just so humble about it. Like, do you know how difficult it is to make one superstar? You did it over and over and over and over and over again. What would you say is the talent that you have to do that or to be able to do that? Because I can still, for me, I can still pick that up even though you're in a different industry, you're doing something different. But when I watch you from far, I can still pick up that passion, which I'm sure now wherever you are, when you watch me do my thing, you can still pick up some of the things that you've taught me.
I think, Sbu, beyond anything else, whatever I do, I put everything in it. You know, I don't do half because I take my time and I apply my mind in whatever I do. So I don't just wake up and say this is what I want to do because I think it's exciting and everybody's doing it. I do whatever I do because I believe, firstly, it's gonna have an impact because it must have an impact. Secondly, it's gonna make a difference. Thirdly, somebody's gonna learn from it. So as long as I believe it's gonna make an impact and it will change people's lives, I'm part of it. I'm saying whether you say in my today's lives, and I'm sure those who are with me now, they'll tell you things that I've done for many years without anybody knowing what I'm doing. I mean, the struggles I've fought, people have fought against or contested, and so on and so on. Because once I believe in something, I go all out, and I don't do half jobs, you know, and I don't want to be all over at the same time. It's just you lose focus when you. So I think I've always been driven by the love I have for whatever I do. And the funny part about it is that whatever I do, it has to do with people.
Yeah.
So it means I'm the love of people. I don't know if you
yeah, I get you.
So whatever I do has to do with people all the time. You know, whether I'm in politics, I'm dealing with people. It's music, I'm dealing with people. You know, a funny part, Sbu, because many those who would have led in the ANC in the 2000s and the Youth League and you will always have challenges. You know, because they always have their views about, no, you have never led here, so therefore. You have never done this, so therefore. The same challenges, Corona, boy.
Hey, ndoda. Angiwani ngila ku library yami ndoda. Corona. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying, Sbu, challenges that you'll face, the same challenges we found, and I'm sure it's 5 minutes to go. The same challenges we found in the music industry.
No, TK. 5 minutes is not enough. I've not spoken about politics and I've not spoken about your youngsters. Give me another 20 minutes or so. Can I cut this off and then I'm gonna come back? Let's do it again. Just another 15, 20 because we 5 too much. Another 20 minutes because I want to talk about your kids. I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about politics because I'm sure there's a lot of people right now who know about what you do in politics and would like to ask a question or two. Because you need to remember, not every youngster wants to be a musician. There's a lot of them who are studying political science who are tuned in right now. So I'm going to come back just now.
Okay.
My man, that's dope, eh?
Yeah.
That's really dope, my man. Yo, that's dope content.
I was watching a movie right now.
Yo, that's dope content, my man. Yo, that is dope content, my man. Yo, this man, and he has not even started on real stories, eh? My man is coming. He's still gonna say stories. Yep. Obviously, we'll do that properly when we're sitting down. But hey, this is so dope, though, ne?
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool, my man. Okay, let me go in again so that it doesn't cut us off. Maybe now I can face it this way, yeah. Show the other books. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Cool. Welcome back to everyone who's tuning in. Shout outs to all my YouTube subscribers. Guys, like, share, subscribe the video. I'm speaking to business mogul TK Nciza, who's a businessman, he's an entrepreneur. He's also a politician. And I'll call him a philanthropist. I know he doesn't like calling himself that. He is a business partner of mine that we started TS Records together. He was 25. I was 19, turning 20. It changed my life, taught me everything I know about business, and a lot of the things that I've gone on to learn by working with other people. The foundation of all of it was him. He gave me the confidence that I possess today. He gave me the foundation of me having to stand and become my own man, because I always say to all of you guys out there on YouTube, wherever you are all over the world, your mentor is not supposed to do the work for you. He's not supposed to do the thinking for you. He's not supposed to come up with the ideas for you. You do all of that yourself, but your mentor will guide you based on their own experiences so that you don't get to repeat the same mistakes that they have made, because it's all in the Bible that so that's why we always need people who have walked the journey before us. And our relationship goes from then, and we made history in this country. And he's somebody who doesn't do cameras, who doesn't do interviews. And I kind of felt, why not? We're all at home right now. Let's inspire some youngsters who are starting their own businesses. I know some of you guys are graphic designers, some of you guys are musicians, dancers, some of you guys are innovators, some of you guys are coders. You're coding some new apps that you're building wherever you are. Some of you guys are selling stuff in the streets every day. Some of you guys don't even care about building a brand. You're just doing tenders. You're working with the government. Some of you guys are running NGOs. Some of you guys are running cooperatives. You want to help out the community. There's so much that you can learn from this man and from all the people that I'm gonna have during this lockdown. 7 p.m. every day until the end of the lockdown. This is The Hustlers Corner. Follow our page on Instagram, The Hustlers Corner. Follow us on Twitter, it's Hustlers CSA. Yeah, Hustlers CSA on Twitter. And then on Facebook is The Hustlers Corner, and YouTube is The Hustlers Corner SA. Facebook, Hustlers Corner SA. Instagram, The Hustlers Corner SA. Tomorrow we've got Theo Baloyi, who started Batu. Sunday we've got Stogie T, one of the most prolific writers and rappers and entrepreneurs, fathers, businessmen, etc. that you've ever experienced. He's an amazing brother. Just type the hashtag Freestyle Friday on Twitter. Then you'll find out who Stogie T is. He's also a brother of mine. We came up together in the business from when he was still Do Me and The Volume. And then on Monday, I've got entrepreneur, business, hotel mogul, who's now just launched his own online bank. And he's also in the digital currency space. His name is Mr. Lebu Gunguluza. That's happening on Monday. Everything happens at 7 p.m. So you must know, stop everything you're doing. All right, let's come back to TK. I was just speaking to my YouTube people. Sorry, guys. Let me look for TK. Where's TK? Oh, Lindesh is here. Shout out to DJ Lindesh. Guys, follow DJ Lindesh, man. It's Lindesh. Linda with the SH at the end. So it's Lindesh. Follow DJ Lindesh. He's one of my youngsters. Shout outs to Sabelo Cafe. Shout outs to Mafumba Refilwe, Kamu Bees, Spandra, I see you. Likaya J, I see you. Mandisi Kupeg, I see you too. But I'm not seeing TK here. How do we plug him back in? Oh, there he is. Okay, cool. TK is here. We're going to finish this thing. Nice. Right, he's going to come back up now. We were talking about, remind me, youngster?
We're talking about consciousness.
We were talking about consciousness, ne?
Then you didn't finish his statement, then you wanted to go into the politics and the future and his children.
Oh, I wanted to get into politics and the future and his children.
Yeah.
But he was speaking about consciousness. Or consciousness. All right, cool. We're back, TK. We were talking about consciousness, and I was saying we're going to talk about just your political life and just your family life, because your kids are getting into the entertainment industry. But for me, what I want us to focus on is a lot of young people that are not only watching this video live right now, but the ones that are going to watch it after on YouTube, etc., etc. But let's share information that inspires young TKs out there, young Damon Dashes out there, young Drakes out there, young Siyakluzas out there, young Theo Balois out there, young Tepo the Gin Maker, young Trevor Noah, young Bonang, young Boiti, young amazing South Africans that are going to hold the torch for the African continent going into the future. Let's talk about consciousness, TK.
I spoke about consciousness. We spoke about consciousness at length. Nevertheless,
okay, maybe let me put it this way, because ngiyazi awuthandi mana amakamera nanyakutshayela. But thank you, by the way, for agreeing ukuthi ngokutshayela vandag.
Yeah, sure.
Everything you learned in the music industry, all of a sudden you're in politics. But at the same time, your life is for the ordinary South African in the street. Ordinary South African in the street is complaining about services, is complaining about the ruling party, is complaining about things that they were promised that they're not receiving. And you're finding yourself not so much of a glamorous industry like you were in. You used to be in VIP sections, you used to be frequenting radio stations, promoting musicians, making superstars. Now your passion, and this is from 2010, 2011, I think we'll talk about those when we sit down, when we zoom into the different artists' careers, you know. But maybe apart from talking about artists, let's jump the entertainment life. Let's get into TK, the businessman, TK, the politician, TK, the philanthropist. I know you don't like you never call yourself a philanthropist, but that's how I look at you. Because a lot of us, you did things for us and you never even made millions out of it. We probably did well together. And, you know, we help out other people make a bit of money. But I don't think you and I made as much money as a lot of ordinary South Africans think. As much as even now, the musicians that they see on the spotlight, ordinary South Africans think they make millions, which I don't think they do. But yes, the game has evolved and it has changed and it's got more money now, it's got more corporate support. But what we did does not have anything to do with money. It has to do with inspiration and making people believe that you can go for what you believe in and achieve it. How did you take all that experience and move with it to politics and TK the businessman and the family man? And let's talk about the future. I just posted your son's first single, Nciza. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And I love what you're doing with your son, because you're not necessarily selling him as somebody who's going to make hits, but I can see the dream is long-term. It's like you're building brands. I think that'll be another conversation for another day to teach younger guys. But let's talk about TK the politician, everything you learned. How are you applying it in your life right now, and TK the businessman?
I just liked your first line when you said all of a sudden you're in politics, because it's the same line that is used to try and undermine people who are in that particular space.
And people don't know that you've been at it all your life, pretty much. And I'd like for you to dwell on it.
And get it in people's minds. For you to be conscious, for you to, and this has nothing to do with any organization, by the way, because I'm not speaking as the secretary of the ANC in Ekurhuleni. I'm just speaking to young people and careers generally, and passions of young people. You see, the biggest problem with society is just the people who try and undermine people who are in a particular sector. You are in the music industry, so it means there are certain things that you can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
You can't think certain. You don't understand certain things, and it, of course, when people started calling me to come and lead or be part of the collective leadership, many people who saw me as their opponent were threatened by that, and they started building a very narrative. No. He's from the music industry, so therefore.
Yeah.
And for the longest of time, anyway, and you find a young man who just found himself leading, maybe in a structure, whether it's COSAS or whatever, believing that, no, they understand politics more than you because now you're from in the music industry and so on. It has happened over and over.
I still go through the same thing in business meetings till today. And I always just keep quiet and I play the fool, but I know what you're talking about.
I'm saying, Sbu, if you've survived the era I have, where you were in politics before ANC was fashionable, or rather say struggle, all political parties were banned at the time, and you were there. And there are no blank pages in history. And you'll find people who want to block you for one reason or another. And purely because they believe they are born to be politicians and anybody else is not, can't be in that space. And there's nothing. A revolution is the people. You can't lead the people if you don't have that. And one politician said, if you don't have, it's difficult to find a revolutionary who doesn't have love, right? And that love must be for your people. And I'm going back to that.
Yeah.
So I was in politics for the longest of time. I was active in branches, but never led at any, I was at the branch for the long time. So when you come from the entertainment space, even now, I mean, you find the Somizi making a mistake, and you find politicians saying, yeah, it's because he's a socialite. You feel me? Not because anybody else can make a mistake. Socialites are judged in a particular way. And I can tell you now, if you can survive entertainment, you can survive in it. It's a dog-eat-dog industry. It is the most challenged industry you can come across. The cake is very small. We're fighting to be on top. We can do anything, especially in South Africa, because remember, many of our artists, the reality is that they only sell in Southern Africa. It is now that they go to Africa, but many of them are selling here. So you can only imagine how people would fight amongst themselves and find space. And we did that, right? We did that. But over and above that, the heart of sharing also disadvantages you as a person. When you have 1 cent and you share it with another person, people will turn it around. Even those we are sharing with in politics, they'll say, we are staying. And they build that as something that they must use against you, right? Because unfortunately, Umuntu, their nature, behaves in a particular manner. You help them, they take you down with the same thing, right? So, but because I'm from that industry, that has taught me many people that I've assisted or that I've worked and they became stars. And let me explain it in this context. A life of an artist, right? That's like this. You have nothing. You come into the industry. You work very hard. You put everything on you. You go up. You become a star. And once you are a star, psychologically, you move every corner. You are celebrated. You are so and so. I'll say you are DJ Sbu because you won't take offense, right? It gets into your head. What do? You stop doing interviews. You stop going to gigs. You start being arrogant. Radio stations stop interviewing you, calling you for interviews because you are not reliable. And the first person to be a target from the artist because he's starting to lose shows, because he's not relevant anymore, is the management. Show me one artist when they are making money who says the record company is showing my money. One. I'm saying go and check, look at Puffy's interviews. He'll tell you the same thing like I'm telling you. Go and look at all record companies. It's the same thing. Now, I'm saying I'm used to such things, right? I mean, you meet an artist in a whatever situation, they become stars. It's them. They are there. They are big. Now, once they are big.
So in other ways, when I'm the success, it's me. But when things are not going my way, you are to blame.
Exactly. It's like that. Let me tell you, Sbu, there's nothing as painful as when you know somebody else's family somebody else's background, where he comes from, what he used to wear, what is he eating. You know their life. So they become part of you. They're a family, right? I mean, I sometimes have stayed with artists in my own house. 3 months down the line, there are big people are saying, I chow their money while they're staying in my house. I've stayed with them for 2 years, and nobody cared about it. But it goes into their heads because now they're popular. And the media is putting pressure on them, and they believe they're ready. Once, even at that time, they're not even ready. And then they go, right? They meet all sorts of things out there, all sorts of characters. They miss shows, chaos happens. The first person people will blame is the company. There are few people that have never blamed companies, and it's because they're business-minded. You've never heard 50 Cent speaking about being ripped off. Why? He was business-minded from the onset. He understood that if I mess up here, I'm messing myself up. Right? You're as good as your last show. And I used to say to many artists that the sad part about this business is you don't know when is your last cent coming in.
Yeah. You see, that's the thing. And I always say this, TK, just to come in there, sorry to disturb before you lose your train of thought. And let me speak to my YouTube people. As an artist or as anybody that is making money and you're doing well and you're at the top of your game, when it's coming regularly and it's coming often, you forget that at some point that tap can run dry. So don't keep all your eggs in one basket. That's just one advice to all the hustlers out there. Just taking from what TK is saying. Sorry, continue.
Now, that's the music part of things that I wanted to share, even with youngsters. Trust me. Every day, treat it as if it's your first day. Respect people as if it's your first day. Relationships are everything in the game. It doesn't matter how big you are. It doesn't matter. There's Corona now, people are at home. Artists are not making money. They never knew. It was the last check, the last gig they went to. Right? I'm saying, of course, it has affected everybody. But I'm saying that happened. But if you have strong foundation and you respect people, you respect your craft, everybody wants to be with you. Everybody. When people see you, Sbu, even today, when I go to radio station, now, of course, the new compilers, they don't know me and so on. I'm known by station manager. There's no station I can't go to. Because they know this guy respects people. Small thing. Right? Small thing. It doesn't take intelligence for you to do that. You must not be an intellectual for you to do that. Humble yourself, work hard, believe in yourself, be scared of nothing. I'm fearless, but I respect people. I've always been fearless, especially when I know you want to close my path. I push you over. But I start by asking you, can I pass through my brother? I mean, we'll come back to the music industry. Let me get into politics. If young people don't take politics serious, because politics are a way of life, they inform policy, which is written, they're informed by that, right? For you to even say, asifuni into Nciza, asifuni, you will be led by inferior people if you don't take part in politics. You'll be led by inferior people. That's the biggest problem you'll have. And the biggest problem with people who want to claim to be politicians, they think and they believe theory makes them politicians.
It's like me as an artist when I think I've got a hit from the studio. And I forget to know a hit is not made in the studio. You still need a lot of work to hustle to go market that song all over the country.
Do you understand? Because the reality is that, like I said, the revolution is the people. Where are the people? What are they? Are you there with them? What is happening? I believe when I speak Karl Marx and so on and so on, then it makes me a better leader. It doesn't. A leader must always be with his people. A leader must care, and a leader must always think ahead. We're here. What's going to happen tomorrow? What are the consequences of this? How do we change the people's life? That makes a leader. Because tomorrow you will be led by hype men, people who just speak slogans and the whole country shakes because and people follow anything that is seen to be against. I can tell you now something that maybe you must record it for tomorrow. A lot of people are going to lose jobs because of coronavirus. It's a fact.
Yeah.
A lot of we might lose a lot of lives because of coronavirus. There would be unguided revolution.
Yeah.
Because when people are hungry, they revolt. And I hope we'll be able to do that in our country. But I'm just talking about in general. The first person people will blame when it comes to those things is politicians, the governing party. And everybody that speaks that language. And many people would forget what and how President Ramaphosa would have taken us through this whole process. I mean, he has done extremely well. I'm just saying, as difficult as it is, and it has affected the economy, but he has done extremely well. So I'm saying politics is for all of us, but you need to be strong for you to stand the test of time. And you need to focus on things that are positive. And only the people will be able to say, are you their leader or not? It's only the people who will say that, So there'll always be challenges from time to time. And everybody believes they can lead, but I'm sure all political parties who are in parliament, they believe they lead. So they can always look at, how they are able to dislodge the ruling party. But in the main, Sbu, I think many of young people and what they can take on my story is that there's no obstacles in life, and nobody can tell you or must tell you you can do this or not that. It doesn't matter who they are. Nobody has a formula. For instance, nobody has a formula of caring for people, of fighting for people. Doesn't belong to somebody. That nobody has got some. No, you are born this, and you undermine other people. I was telling one leader that in one country, DJ is the president today because he was undermined by politicians, undermined his views on radio station. When they woke up, the main. All right. So the point is, when you are from the music industry or the entertainment industry, they will always want to undermine and disrespect. I engage many people on the issue of Somizi, was having, and I'm making an example because many of people in politics were criticizing the minister. No, he's a friend of these people, these small talks, and undermining the fact that because this thing is done by how many politicians makes mistake? Many. So people in the music industry or entertainment industry don't ever allow anybody to undermine you. We get into that space, it's not owned by anybody, we lead them. Right? Because people would want us to do so. Not because we enforce ourselves or we think we're better. The role that you play in society will speak for itself. So we have fought many battles in what you can believe. Even from early 2000, I was actively now getting involved, And it did have and of course, even George Weah, the former president, the former soccer player, AC Milan and player of led Liberia as a president. So you must never allow anybody to undermine you because you are from a particular sector. And that's what I want many young people to take from from what we're speaking about today. But beyond that, I mean, leadership comes with its own responsibilities, and you have to maintain a particular posture. And yeah, I mean, it's part of the game, you know, because people want to know about your personal lives, this and that. You are scrutinized every day, and so on and so on. But you have to be strong. And I was prepared in a very, I can tell you now. I mean, the entertainment space. There's nothing that I think would get me better than that space. It has done extremely well for me.
What do you think of the entertainment space right now in 2020?
I think it presents a lot of opportunities, but it needs people in the entertainment industry to think and work even harder. That's what it needs, you know. It needs people to work very hard. We must think outside of the box, because the reality is that it's going to take some time, for instance, for musicians to go to festivals. It's just my view. It's my personal view. I mean,
I think so too. I think it might take another year, eh?
Gatherings of more than 10 people, 20 people, it's going to take some time, you know. It is. So it needs a lot of creative. And I think I've seen many young people trying to do a lot of things on social media. And I think the internet is going to take over in terms of the entertainment. I mean, I can tell you now, whether you speak of data, whether you speak of content, you know, that's where people are currently. And young people need to be creative in that space. In fact, this is, I said, the fourth industrial revolution. This is where you need young people to come in and change the game, and lead from the front, learn from what is happening in other spaces, show us how it can be done. But it's the same thing, man. You need to work hard for you to make an impact.
I think
so.
Yeah, go ahead.
So all I'm saying is that it's not going to be the same, the norm, you know. The world has changed. I mean, I can tell you it's going to be difficult to travel to another country without a particular proof. It's just my own assessment of where we are. Because if everybody has went to their respective countries, who's going to allow people to just come in and out?
Yeah, it's still going to take time, yeah.
Yeah, because we have a visa. I'm just saying things would change. So we need to adapt as well. We need to come up with ways of surviving within the... But the reality is that you can't survive outside of arts. You know, whether it's books, whether it's poems, whether it's musicians, whether it's actors. Currently, as we are on lockdown, everybody is, including this. I mean, people are looking at content. So content will always be needed. I think, other than complaining and saying who must do what for who, we must work hard for ourselves.
TK Nciza, this has been incredible, and I'm happy that we did this because, hey, Mfana Joe Tigzo. It's been many years. And I know it still hasn't happened to everyone that's watching. I know some of you guys are watching this not necessarily live now. You'll probably watch it later and you're excited about this conversation. I've been promising a lot of you guys it's still going to happen properly where we are both in the same room. And we also open it up to everyone that wants to ask questions. I know you guys want to ask about Zahara. You guys want to ask about Pro. You guys want to ask about Mafigizolo and Tantla. You guys want to ask about Bricks. You guys want to ask about Mzegezege. You guys want to ask about his political life. You guys want to ask about the future. You guys want the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But if there's one thing I can tell you is I'm glad that in my life I met this brother when I was 19 years old. And he's been a big pillar of strength to not only myself. I can count a number of millionaires that this guy made. Whatever we did with that money afterwards, I don't think it's his business, but I'm one of the people that this guy helped to become a millionaire at a very early age when I was a youngster. And I don't want to talk about other people's names, but I do know coming from the bottom of my heart that I want to thank you, bro. Thank you for being a part of my life. I don't think I'd be where I am if you didn't come into my life. And whatever you do and touch with your children in the future, which I'd like for us to talk about when we do sit down about the future of your children and the dreams and the vision and where Mr. Nciza is going with his family. Thank you, bro. Tears for life. And I think it's rest in peace to Amachitesi Spani now who are no longer around today. I'm sure you also want to share that as well, because a lot of the times you're not in the media, so you always get the raw end of the stick. Because I or abantu bakhuluma ngawe or criticize, etc. But I'm sure wherever you are, you're always thinking about, I wish you Robbie was still alive. I wish you Brown was still alive. I wish you Keely was still alive, etc., etc. You know.
You know, like you said, I'm sure we'll have another day where we'll just speak about that, because I think it's important. Just to. But I'm sure even young people who are getting to the space, they'll learn it. They'll have their own way of learning things. But it's important that people research and look at what is happening, what has happened before, not only with TS Records, but Def Jam and.
Alawa, MTU Music,
Alawa, yeah.
999.
Behavioral patterns of artists across. Even today, I mean, it's the same thing. You know, unfortunately, Sbu, I was taught when I was young, don't ever expect much from anybody. Just do your best, right? Don't think when you have done something for people, they must pay you back. Don't think when you have put your life into line for people, they must say thank you. Just move on because you've done something right. That's it.
I'm glad that you said that, because sometimes, TK, it does hurt when you think about people that you've helped, you know, and people that you know, you didn't just help in J. You know, there's a point where you help someone who kimeli takes, or you help someone who tengu wood. But there's people that we've helped, let me say, and not just about me specifically as Sbu says, I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where you help someone, you change their life. You literally change their life. They become something amazing in society, but I don't even expect a thank you, but yeah, it's probably a story for another day, but it's just how human nature is, that sometimes rata ho nyela sidiba, rata ho rotela stlhare. Tsizo tanki nyabonga poe.
Hola, Charlie.
Tears for life, and I appreciate this time and all the best with your family. I'm wishing you all of the best with your life in business, with your life in politics, with your sons, your children. Guys, we're going to be doing this every evening, 7 p.m. every evening. It's the Lockdown Hustlers Conversations. Follow the Hustlers Corner SA on Instagram, the Hustlers Corner SA on Facebook, the Hustlers CSA on Twitter, and the Hustlers Corner SA on YouTube. That's where you find all the full video interviews. Thank you very much for tuning in.